Welcome back to the Fulton County Gospel News Podcast. My name is Barry Odell, and I am your host. Fulton County Gospel News is a bi-monthly publication of the Church of Christ in Mammoth Spring, Arkansas. If you would like to learn more about our paper, visit our website, mammothspringchurchofchrist.com, and all of the information is available there. If you would like to receive the paper, you can receive it as a PDF in your email. You can receive a hard copy in the United States Postal Service, or you can receive a bundle of the papers, and then you can hand those out. It's all free of charge. Visit our website, get a hold of us, and we'll be happy to add you to one of those lists. So today I want to read an article to you from the May 1999 edition of the paper. The author is Max Patterson, and the title of the article is, "My People Love to Have It So." Jeremiah wrote the words that are found in the title of this article as he wept about the condition of the children of Israel. It would not be long before they would be carried off into Babylonian captivity as a punishment for their sins. Jeremiah said, "An appalling and horrible thing has happened in the land. The prophets prophesy falsely, and the priests rule on their own authority, and my people love to have it so." Then he asks such a penetrating question, "But what will you do at the end of it?" Jeremiah 5:30 and 31. Many people do not regard the end or the consequences of their actions, yet the Bible is filled with explicit statements about what our responsibility is and the consequences of not fulfilling that responsibility. See 2 Timothy 4:1-3, 1 Timothy 4:1-3, Acts 20:28-31, and 2 Thessalonians 1:7-9. People today refuse to be warned about their actions and consequences. Here are a few examples. Despite the fact that the Bible teaches faith without works is dead, there are millions who believe in faith only. James 2:14-26. Despite the fact that the Bible in so many places denies the doctrine of eternal security, millions still believe once saved, always saved. 1 Corinthians 10:12, 2 Peter 2:20-22. Despite the fact that the Bible teaches the highest of morals and ethics, there are millions who believe if it feels good, do it. Matthew 5:27-30, Romans 1:28-32. Despite the fact that the Bible clearly teaches that God is the highest authority and that He is the one who must be pleased, there are millions who not only want, but are determined to have it their way. This is a call for men to go back to the Bible. Jeremiah said, "Thus saith the Lord, stand ye in the ways, and see, and ask for the old paths, where is the good way, and walk therein, and ye shall find rest for your souls." Jeremiah 6:16. And the reaction was much as it is today. The people replied, "We will not walk therein." What a shame to be lost forever, and to miss out on heaven, just because we had to have it our way. Let us hear the Lord before it is too late. So that's a fairly brief article, but it touches on something that I would say is universal, a universal problem that faces all people. I guess I'd say myself included. And that is, at times in life, we take a course of action, we say something, whatever the case may be, and we do not regard the end or the consequences of those actions or words. Perhaps in the moment we're upset, we're emotionally charged, and again, we take an action or we say something that under normal circumstances, or perhaps under less emotional circumstances, we would never have said or done. And I think something else that is accurate to say is that not only do we sometimes not regard the end or the consequences of our actions, but I would say also sometimes we don't regard the unintended consequences of our actions. Our actions and words, they don't just affect us, they affect so many people around us. They can affect our family, coworkers, friends. If we're a member of the church, they can affect a congregation where we attend. And there are times where we need to stop and think before we take a course of action or before we say something to someone, either in response or out of retribution, because we feel justified in doing so. Slow down. Take time to think about what we're about to do, about what we are about to say. I think a lot of that comes perhaps with age, with wisdom, It seems that most of us, when we're younger, we're a lot more impulsive, and we don't look very far down the road before we take an action or before we say something. Now, this article focuses in a couple of the examples on matters of biblical doctrine, faith only, eternal security, things like this. But then he gets into the realm, briefly, but he gets into the realm of morals and ethics and the concept of fulfilling an immediate desire, not delaying gratification, or taking a course of action that is simply sinful and not taking into consideration, again, the future consequences that we can't yet see that are down the road if we do or say what we are about to do or say. So as he concluded that article, he makes a call for authority and to go back to the Bible. And so here's the thing, Jesus claims for himself. All right, Matthew 28:18. All authority has been given unto me in heaven and on earth. So if that is the case, if Jesus Christ is the sole authority and the highest authority, then we need to check ourselves, our conduct, our words with him and with his standard. It's Jesus who said in John 12 and verse 48, "He who rejects me and does not receive my words has one that judges him. The word that I have spoken, the same shall judge him on the last day." So we know the standard, and that's it. We know what the standard is going to be. We know how we will be held accountable. The Bible in so many places talks about the fact that each one of us is going to be held accountable for our own actions and for our own words. So for instance, in terms of words, you could read Matthew 12 verses 36 and 37, and in essence, that passage tells us that by our words we will be justified, or by our words we shall be condemned. All right, but then in terms of actions, we're going to have to give an account of the things done in our body, whether they be good or whether they be evil. And that thought is repeated in both Testaments. So Ecclesiastes 12, verses 13 and 14, and 2 Corinthians 5 and verse 10, those are just two examples, and many others could be listed. But the simple thing is this: we know the standard of authority, and we know the method by which we will be judged. We will be judged according to our own works. And that is in accordance with the justice and the holiness of God, I would say. So when Jeremiah wrote those words, the nation of Judah was in, and had been for some time, in a terrible state of both moral and spiritual decline, and they were certainly facing Babylonian captivity as a punishment for their sins. In fact, the prophet Ezekiel talks about the fact that Babylon would be the Lord's sword that he would bring against his own people because of her sin. As he concluded the article, one thing he said was, "What a shame to be lost forever." The Bible talks to us about eternity. It talks to us about heaven and hell. We know, if we study the Bible, we know that there are two, let's say, locations, two destinies, if you will, that we face when it comes to eternity. One is with God forever. One is without God forever. Now, knowing that information, how are we conducting ourselves in this world? Do we love to have it so, in the sense that we're going to go our own way, we're going to do what we want to do, we're going to believe what we want to believe, or are we going to submit ourselves to the will of God? That choice is in the hands of each one of us. And I love Jeremiah 6:16. I'll read it again and then we'll wrap it up. "Thus saith the Lord, stand ye in the ways and see, and ask for the old paths, where is the good way, and walk therein, and ye shall find rest for your souls." Thanks for listening today to the Fulton County Gospel News Podcast. I hope this short episode has been encouraging to you and helps you seek God and His will in your life. If you'd like to subscribe to our paper, again, visit our website, mammothspringchurchofchrist.com. Get a hold of us, and we'll be happy to add you to our mailing list. Until the next time, thanks for listening today, and I will catch you on the next episode of the Fulton County Gospel News Podcast.